My feed recently has been full of cocoa bombs, so of course we gotta make them. But I wanted to make them a little differently. Crushed up some mini Oreos, which made this amazing cookies and cream. I tried to make one that didn't use chocolate, so I came up with a strawberry bomb. This actually tasted really good. Of course I had to make a classic peppermint. Nostalgic. My feed has been full of peppermint bark recently, which got me thinking, how hard can this possibly be, right? Oh, was I in for a surprise. Let's just say that chocolate is very temperamental. The pieces didn't quite stick together, but at the end of the day, I give you a sheet of peppermint bark. These are far from perfect, but quite delicious. Remember when everyone was making chocolate chip cookie s'mores? Well, I thought, what if we use sugar cookies instead? But these sugar cookies are so hard to find that I sold a kidney for them. Even though these didn't look all that spectacular, they still had a great marshmallow pull. And maybe they'll even taste good? Oh yeah, these are delicious. You know how everyone was making these viral ice cream sandwiches? Well, I wouldn't know, because I couldn't find these cookies anywhere. So I tried this instead. Chocolate chip cookies are always my backup, and I found these sugar cookies, which were pretty easy to make. Rated Target for some festive gems and ice cream. I was not anticipating these to be so thick. Aside from their chonk, these definitely hit the craving. Making holiday viral cookie recipes to see if they actually work. The cookie dough is really easy to make. Just wet ingredients, a little cinnamon, mixed with dry ingredients, and cinnamon cereal pieces. But what got me the most intrigued was this icing. This just brought everything together. But will they taste just as delicious? The cereal pieces are a little tough after baking, but otherwise, delicious. You know how everyone on this app has these mad cookie decorating skills? Well, I thought I would try it, and that went just about as well as you'd expect. Haha, beginner's luck. They say if you turn a gingerbread man upside down, you can make a reindeer. Oh my god, that's horrifying. Now let's make a Frosty. Yeah! More like Pinocchio. He looks so scared. Get a little sweater on him. Right on, this guy looks like he's ready to party. These didn't turn out too bad. I even fixed the reindeer, and taste delicious too. Christmas crack has been showing up all over my feed recently, so of course I had to try it. But I was not prepared for what this was gonna do. The butter and brown sugar totally separated. Well, I guess I can't possibly mess this up any more than it already is. And I made it worse. Was not supposed to put chocolate chips in the oven. This noise. Christmas crack, everybody. What if we tried hot cocoa Oreos, but in a mug cake? Normally, I just make my mug cakes with cookies and milk. But this time, I tried making it fancier by topping with marshmallows and chocolate syrup. And oh boy, this definitely turned out to be the prettiest mug cake I've ever made. But what about taste? Oh yeah, that's damn good. I finally found these sugar cookies, so I bought them all. And now I can make these viral chocolate chip sugar cookies, but with a twist. I've seen people take this trend and make them into ice cream sandwiches. So I gotta know what this hype is about. Okay, my other ice cream sandwiches are better, but otherwise, pretty good. My toxic trait is wanting one bite out of every food when I go to parties, like different flavors of pie. So I thought, what if we made mini pies instead? So I started by trying to make a pie crust, simply because I don't have time to make this from scratch, but that was a f***ing disaster. So I bought a different kind of crust. That was somehow worse. After dealing with all that noise, I made a lemon pie, a molten chocolate pie, and a pumpkin pie. I'm pretty happy with how these turned out, but I especially liked the molten chocolate pie. I made these $8 Disney treats at home for only $1. But I was not expecting the level of maintenance here. Now, toffee is kind of tricky, but I think I nailed this part. And this is kind of giving me Squid Game vibes. But melting chocolate is a whole nother battle. Carefully sprinkle a little cinnamon sugar, and that don't look right. But after multiple attempts, I think these turned out okay. But will they taste good? Oh yeah, this smacks. I tried making churro cheesecake bars, but I was a bit skeptical about this recipe. How is this supposed to taste like a churro if we're using croissant dough? At least the cheesecake mixture looked pretty straightforward. Aside from not having any cinnamon sugar in this mixture, in fact, the only cinnamon sugar I'm seeing is going on the outside of the dough. But when I cut into these, they actually look pretty good. These actually taste like cream cheese-filled churros. I'm on the hunt for the perfect chocolate chip cookie recipe, and after so many years of fine-tuning this one, here's what I got. I will always start by browning that butter, but the most important part is high-quality chocolate. I can go ham on getting beautiful chunks in here, but I'm a simple girly and I'm not just gonna have a bunch of baking chocolate bars around my house. So Ghirardelli chocolate chips it is. These turned out pretty good, but I still think I can make them better. Making recipes I found on the internet that'll satisfy the craving. Look, I'm obsessed with cheesecake and brownies, so when I found this recipe, I was floored. Okay then, these kind of feel like the way I'd make my brownies. Really moist and good chocolatey flavor, but now it's time to add the cheesecake. Bake them on up, let them sit, and moment of truth. Whoa, those are extremely fudgy. Yeah, would make this again. My feed recently has been full of people breaking chocolate bars and melting them down into rich, decadent hot chocolate. In my opinion, winter is my least favorite season since I can't stand anything below 20 degrees. Some Canadian blood I am, which is why I'm all about making only the warmest of foods. Anyway, this ended up looking beautiful and And yeah, tasted delicious. Have you ever wanted to try Tiana's beignets from Princess and the Frog? Well, I tried making them for the first time, and there were definitely some learning curves. But first, getting the right ingredients from the source. However, my mind was stuck on the daunting fact that I was gonna need to fry these. Despite not wanting to burn my fingers off, I gotta admit some of these turned out better than others. And shaken it the Disney way, these kinda do look like Tiana's beignets. But as for taste, delicious. Everything I ate during the holidays at Disneyland. I tried this southern mac and cheese, which was pretty delicious. There was some good seasoning and it had a nice kick. Then I got this beef brisket slider. This just melted in my mouth. It was like having pull-apart ribs. I have a nostalgia for pierogies, and these were pretty good, but the kielbasa stole the show. It had a bit of spice and it was so juicy. I love when they get festive with their churros. It all came together with these candy cane pieces on top. Did you know that Taylor Swift has a chai cookie recipe? Well, I tried making them, but I have some thoughts. So Taylor's method is she cuts chai tea bags and dumps it in. Freeze, roll, and bake. But then I realized I forgot to add powdered sugar.
Oh no. They're already in the oven, so you gotta just go.
Well, hopefully this still works. The icing is made with eggnog, which I gotta say is pretty clever, but what will they taste like? The chai and icing brought out some good flavors. Oh yeah, that's good. I'm on the hunt for the best chocolate chip cookie, and taking multitudes of advice from you guys, I found a recipe that I think can do the trick. I unwrapped all these soft caramels, which was actually the worst idea, because then they started sticking together. Yeah, don't do this. Obviously brown that butter, and this recipe called for salted butter, but then everything started separating. So I guess we can't do that either, but the rest of the recipe seemed pretty familiar. Wait, 3 cups flour? Is that not a lot? Okay, these came out way fluffier than what I'm used to, but will they taste just as good? Definitely too much flour in my opinion, but otherwise, delicious. Wouldn't it be kind of fun to throw all the holiday reject foods into one big dessert? Well, I tried it, and here are my thoughts. Not gonna lie, I was a little skeptical at first. Maybe this is gonna be a bit too sweet. My god, this is thick. So I baked these for about 15 minutes, threw on these stupendous cookies. The cookies didn't exactly expand the way I thought they were going to, but hey, these actually turned out alright, and they tasted delicious. My feed has been plastered with red velvet everything recently. And maybe it's my conspiracy brain talking, but does red velvet even exist? Like if you were to break down the concept of what red velvet is, it's basically just extra cocoa powder and a crap ton of food coloring. 1 tablespoon of food coloring to be exact. That can't be safe for consumption. There we go. Our red velvet cookie has been complete. So will this taste any good? Oh this is really good. Okay, fine, I'll join your red velvet cult. Have you ever thought about making champagne cupcakes?
Oh god.
Yeah, me too, apparently. At first, I was a little skeptical. Like, will this actually taste good? Or will they just be expensive cupcakes? And immediately coming out of the oven, these smelt brutal. But let's decorate these on up. And I even made baby cupcakes, because why not? But will they taste as good as they look? Okay, I can't really taste the champagne. So expensive cupcakes, but good. The internet has been raving about these brownies made by Felix from Stray Kids, but are they actually that good? At first, this recipe seemed pretty extravagant. I have never used caster sugar before, and espresso powder? I've seen this done before, but all I know is that it somehow changes the chocolate flavor. But then I realized, my dumbass forgot to add chocolate chips before putting in the oven. So I tried to get those in by all means necessary. And these came out looking pretty fudgy. I had to cut the smallest pieces possible for whatever reason. But will these taste just as good? Okay, these are delicious. Making Felix from Stray Kids chocolate chip cookies, but will they be better than his brownies? Felix's unique style is to use bread flour, which already had me a little sus because I don't like to use as much flour in my cookies. I also added espresso powder, which we also did for his brownies. Boy really likes this ingredient. Roll them into balls, place them in the oven. These are looking fluffy as hell. So are Felix's cookies just as good as his brownies? Okay, not to be dramatic, but these are actually bomb. I tried making churros, but accidentally made this recipe instead. Okay, no, but why does this look like mac and cheese? Churro mac and cheese? Regardless, I'm actually surprised how easy this recipe is to make. Except the carpal tunnel it's giving me. That kind of sucks. I mean, look at these ripples. Sensational. Swirl in that cinnamon sugar, and I present to you the internet's best churro fudge recipe. And not to be dramatic, but this is the best fudge I've ever had.